Hey, everybody. Joe the Lawyer here with Tim Shorts of Gothridge Manor. What's up, Tim? We waved the
Not too
pencil at
much.
it.
Yes, the my DM pencil it's used.
Mesmerizing us with the pencil.
Yep.
Yes, this is the first in a new series of videos, guys. If you notice that Joe and Eric and myself have a Friday video series about the RPG Players Academy, where we talk about how to be a better player in any game system, not even D&D specific. So Tim and I were talking about it, and we decided, God damn it, we're going to do one for Game Masters, right?
Why not? Everybody else
Why
is
not?
doing them.
We
Why
might as
not?
well. We
We
might
can
as
piss
well.
in the pool.
That's it. That's it. So we're gonna
Yep.
every Thursday at 2:30. Me and Tim are gonna record this video. After our game on what is it, Monday? Yeah, we it's Monday night.
Monday
We're
tonight.
recording the damn video,
Yeah.
and you guys are gonna see it every Thursday at 2:30. All right. So the RPG Game Masters Academy video series of me and Tim from Gothridge Manor. And the cool thing about this, guys, is that the same exact video we're recording, all right, the same video is going to be on his channel, it can be on my channel. So no matter where you're watching it, it's cool, right? You're not going to get two different takes on it like me and Eric and Joe do. You're going to get the same damn video. What do you
Same
think
one.
of that, Tim? Same one.
What?
Same one.
I don't know what I think about that. We'll see.
You know,
I have no fucking idea. So
no
yeah,
fucking idea.
we're just gonna do it and see what happens. And we
Yep.
kind of did this
Yep.
a few years back though too. At the same way, it just wasn't called a collaboration.
Yeah, we did a live stream all the time. Remember, we were doing a
Yep.
Monday night live stream.
Mine
So now
too.
we're
Monday
playing
night
on
live stream.
Mondays. So I figured we could
Yep.
record one because I don't think
Yep.
we'd have the energy to do a long an hour or two live stream after the game that we just play. So I figured, hey,
No.
but we can record a video. We can
We
definitely
can
do
do a
that.
quick one.
And
Absolutely.
I bet you're dying to know out there in audience land what the hell the topic of this video is. You want to share the topic?
My topic?
Do you know? Yeah. Do you know the
The
topic of the
topic
day?
is session -1.
Yes, -1. That came from Fireball to Gazebo. There's a new YouTube channel I kind of discovered, and they were getting so many more views than me per video when they had less subscribers. I'm like, why? Why? How? Why suck? What's going on? Right. And so Eric did a quick search, and apparently these guys also have a minis channel. Each of them were like 150,000 people on each minis channel. So I don't feel so bad now.
Gotcha.
Getting a lot of traffic from over there.
And before we decided to do this, I had no idea. I've never heard of a session -1.
Yeah, they came up with it. I think the one guy came
Yeah.
up with it the first time, and it was kind of neat because he put together 7 questions to talk about. Now, my session 0, right, is where people get together and roll dice, right? That's it. They roll up the characters and we chit chat a little bit. Had a little pizza. I just recently did this with my brother and Pete, and then with the kids in the game store. It's getting together, rolling dice. You figure out, all right, I'm going to play wizard, I'm going to play fighter. Roll them up, stat them up, roll your hit points, and I just like to be there in person when you roll your stats and hit points because I like to mock low scores, right? So that's my session 0.
Perfect.
And you have a little bit different session 0, right? What do you do?
Yeah. So my session 0 is usually rolling up the character and have them kind of figure out what they want to do. And then I do a short session. Now I do this usually one-on-one. I don't usually do this in a group. And then we have a short adventure or something because I want them to discover how they want to run their character, if it's going to work the way they want it. So if we need to make tweaks, we can make tweaks. And then also to start establishing their own lore before they join. Like I was telling Joe earlier, it's the individual Marvel movie before they become the Avengers. So they have their own backstory before they go into group play, and gives them their own background and their own knowledge through play.
Unlike traditional old school hardcore D&D, where your backstory is your first 3 levels of your character, you like to give them a little backstory before they become, joining the group, before they come in, and just mess around. So I started using that a little bit. So my session 0 is like what I just described, but my session 0.5, I do an individual session with each of the people. That's my session 0.5. So I guess what you're calling your session 0. But these guys from Fireball to Gazebo, they had something really cool. And I'm going to put the link to this below. And speaking of links, guys, you're going to see the Fireball to Gazebo link about the video we're talking about. I thought it was pretty interesting. And then you're going to see links to both my channel and Tim's channel. All right. You could click on those links and join. But even easier than that, just if you click that little subscribe button, all right there, you look at it, you'll see it right there. Hit that subscribe button, and you're able to join the channel that you're not already joined. Right. So if you click the subscribe button, you're a member of my channel, a subscriber already. You can't join me again, but you can join Tim's and vice versa. So join Tim's channel if you're people on my channel. Join me if you're people on Tim's channel. All right. So that way we spread the joy, spread the joy.
And I guess join the Fireball Gazebo.
Yeah, they're
Fireball,
good people.
yeah, as well. Yeah,
like,
no, they seem like real good people. I got to watch more of their because I the only reason I knew about them because you mentioned it. So
yeah,
I've subscribed to them.
They're one of the few D&D YouTubers, dungeon tubers, whatever you want to call them, that I actually learn shit from. When I watch them, they've been playing decades like us, and they're not the Johnny come latelys, two D&D grifters or anything like that. They have, the street cred, and they've been playing it a long time. And at least one of them's on the autism spectrum, so he's really, you know what I mean? He knows he's there. So he admitted it, Well, tism.
Yeah.
He said, tell me you got tism without telling me you got tism. I think that's one of the things he says all the time. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
So tell me you got the tism. So yeah, I like them though. You learn a lot from them. But they brought up a bunch of questions because they were talking about session. I think they called it -1 or -0.5 or something like that. And this is prior to what we each described, my 0 and my 0.5 and your 0. It was kind of interesting because this guy, I think he said he used AI to come up with some bunch of shit ton of questions about this is where you get together at the bar, restaurant, or somebody's house, and you sit there, you break bread, you have a drink, and you talk about you as a player. What are you looking to get out of the game? Right? That was what he was looking at. And what floats your boat, essentially. He came up with 7 questions, and I think he said that 6 were AI generated that he really liked, and one he brought in himself. And he says it sparked a hell of a conversation around the table. So I figured we could maybe go through the questions and just spitball them a little bit. Okay, so he says the first question that he asks the people is, what's most important in a game for you to personally enjoy it? And these are open-ended for the most part, these questions.
Right.
And so it led to an interesting discussion with his 4 or 5 or 6 players that he had around the table. So what do you think, Tim? What is the most important thing in a game for you to personally enjoy it?
Personally enjoy it. I think probably just being with friends who aren't that uptight about rules.
Yeah.
Because, who can kind of roll with stuff because they play a very loose game.
Yep.
And it kind of serves the enjoyment of the game more than and the setting, kind of thing. But just being around people that don't get too uptight and you can laugh about all the inappropriate stuff that happens around a table, and at the end of the day, hopefully have some sort of fun memory to get you through the next workday.
That's really what it comes down to, right? You need a break. You just got to kill some orcs and take their shit to deal with the day you just had and to have a smile the next day when you go in.
Yeah.
I like that. And there was a toss up for me in this question between immersion and the people you play with. I got to go just at 5149 immersion. I like to get absorbed into the world and with agency. Immersion with agency. I love that. I love that. And that's what I like about, playing the game we just played now, it's like nitty gritty agency and immersion. So I enjoy that. All right. So
that makes sense. Yeah.
Here's the question 2. When you are the most immersed, what are you paying attention to?
Gosh, I'm trying to think about like when you were running a game for me, Joe. Probably the thing I'm paying attention to is all your plot lines. It depends. I guess it depends on the DM, and I unfortunately a lot of this is going to go depends because I'm very individualized when I'm approaching people. I don't approach playing the same way with Rob as I do with your type of campaign. There's just some similarities, but I try to find your guys's your immersion. You want big time immersion. So does Rob, but in a different way. But for you, Joe, I try to pay attention to the plot lines, how they interact, and how I can, especially with the last character I played, who was sort of like a hub of information. He was sort of like the
Yeah,
data center for that.
he
So I
was.
was always trying to
Yeah.
keep the plot lines straight, separated, but also see how they intertwined, because I know you fed into that. Because if I got fed into it and started playing one off of each other,
Mhm.
that you really like that. So you brought more of it back, like we were feeding off of each other.
Yeah.
So it helped the immersion even more. So I would say in your instance, I would say paying attention to the plot lines and trying to uh, get into what you are offering, because you had
Okay.
like a certain thing you're offering. So I'm feeding off the GM energy, so I
Mhm.
know what they're looking for, so I can kind of feed back what they're also looking for.
Okay. All right. For me, when I get the most immersed, I'm looking at NPCs and power games. Like if I'm immersed in a world as a player, I think it's the same thing as a GM in a sense. Like I want to know who the players are. Like I don't mean the other players at the table with me. I mean who are the players in the world in a setting, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I like the aspect of like understanding the grand games and taking part in being a bit player, moving my way up, and so
Right.
I get more chips in the big game, right? I like that
Yeah,
sort of
you're a
thing.
big game guy, and I'm more of a small game guy kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, which is
Yeah.
interesting because I'm a in your game we're playing, I'm a small game guy right now, right? Because
Right.
I'm just trying to fucking survive. But I mean, I'm enjoying the hell
Right.
out of that, but at the
Right.
same time, like the real like the high level immersion, like even I asked you, like, well, where's the capital city? What's the kingdom name? Who's the king?
Right.
Who are the dukes? What's the power structure? I wanted to know all the
Right.
details, even though I'm never gonna leave more than 5 miles from Hound's Head. I
Or
want
you
to
might
know
not
it
even
all.
know it though. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Like where
yeah,
me, it's sort of
yeah.
like, well, you're from Mr. Podunk from Podunk Town. You might know some of like the king and some other stuff, but you're not going to know every noble. You're not going to know where it's at. It's like
Mhm.
farther than you've ever walked.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Kind
Way
of
over there,
deal.
over that yonder hill. That's
Yeah,
where the king
somewhere
lives.
over
What's his
there.
name? I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. If a game fails for you, what's usually the reason?
Usually my energy level. If I am running a game, I just
Okay.
run out of steam.
Okay.
Um, it might be because of outside effects like job or
Yeah.
different
Health or
things like
whatever.
that. Um, or it could possibly be a failure to communicate with the players or talk to them. Because when I end sessions, there's a lot of time I like to have a short discussion afterwards. What do you
Mm.
think about this ruling? Because we've done it
Hmm.
100 times after games.
Yeah.
Does this work? I want to, like tonight, changing up the Hugo's healing potions a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to pass
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
through my players, see if it's something that they'd be cool with, and try to justify it in my own mind or whatever for it, and
I
go from
already got
there. But I
fucked on
think,
it.
yeah, you did tonight. You already did.
Damn it.
Yes, that's true. Probably like 10 minutes after you thought it was a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but yeah, communication with the players is important. But also, I have to make sure I'm staying energized in the game, and a lot of that has to do with putting energy into the game,
Hmm.
taking that effort, writing down the notes, getting stuff ready, just small stuff, but important stuff before a game.
Okay.
And if
All
I
right.
don't do that, then my game starts to fail.
I think if the game fails for me, what's the reason? It's a mismatch of DM and players. Right? Like a GM and player mismatch. That's when it's like you get a group together, you think it's going to be cool because you know them, you play with them all individually or different groups or mixing and matching them up. And next thing you know, you get them all together in a party. And it's like, well, that ain't working. I don't
Well,
give a
I mean,
shit.
is that a GM party thing, or was that just two types of players intersecting in one game and it just doesn't work? That
I
is
think
that really a GM problem?
it's a GM problem because I should have known. And I kind of knew that things wouldn't work out. And I kind of like hedged my bet. But and other things too. It's like sometimes you get to be playing with people. I'm not talking about the big schism. I'm talking about little schisms within it. We were
Right,
talking about friction. You know what I mean? We were talking a couple weeks ago. We are talking about who's going to be in the game that I run starting over the summer.
right,
And I
right,
was I was saying I just don't want friction, man. I got too many
right.
things going on. I just don't want to have to
That
deal with
goes to our
friction.
first point. What's the most important thing to enjoy the game? You
Friction,
know,
yeah, no friction. Yeah,
Yep.
so that's a huge thing, you know.
Absolutely.
Immersion, you know, what you said, good people to play with, that
Yeah.
goes to the friction part, you know. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's it. That's it. Um, all right, so that's question number 3, right? And we have a question. Before we get to question number 4, I have something that came in the mail. Look at what we have here.
Oh,
Uh-oh, what
what
do you
did
think
you?
this is?
Oh, something
An
you're not going to read.
enveloping, huh?
Something you're not
Yes.
going to read.
Something I'm not gonna. I might read it. I don't
No,
know.
you
What's
won't.
this? We have. This is Jarl's Horde by Tim Shorts. Who the hell is that guy? Shadow Dark,
Mm,
Micro Adventure, Gothridge Manor. So patreon.com/Gothridge. Go join his Patreon, guys. And you get,
yeah.
for like, what is it, $4.99, Tim? You get this in the mail. And for free,
$5
you
is
could
the
join and
pledge
get
level.
like, what's that?
$5 is the pledge
$5?
level. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So yeah, you get this in the mail. And good adventures. Tim all draws all his maps. Oh, an NPC card. Nice. Nice. You get an NPC card. I'm still
Oh
missing
yeah,
one
I
of these,
got one on it.
which
You're
I
still
know
missing
you
one?
just, yeah, you didn't send it to me on fucking purpose because you know my OCD requires me to have every one of them. So I know you didn't send it to me on purpose.
Well, that I can't say I didn't do that. I just don't remember if I did that, but
Mhm.
that's
I'm gonna go
very
through it.
possible.
I'm gonna go through the whole list. Oh, this is number 40 fucking what? 46. I'm missing 4. First 45. I have to check for 45 now. I might be missing 2. All right, I have to check. All right,
Well, you know,
all
I'm
right.
not
So
the
check
best
it out.
number too sometimes, so
Oh,
that
yeah,
might
you
be
do.
just
Yeah,
my fault.
yeah, yeah. That's
I do
true.
jump around.
That's true. All right, so check out his Patreon, guys. And again, click like and subscribe to both of our channels. Click that subscribe button. You'll join Tim's. Click Tim's, and if you're watching on his, and you join mine, and we're all good here. All right, same video on both channels, though. We might even do live streams. I think we were talking about maybe at
Oh
some
yeah,
point we get a
we like
regular
doing our
live
live
stream night.
streams too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we got a good vibe, good energy with it. All right, cool. So, what number 4? What do you think you value in RPGs that others might not?
God, I don't know what others value. That's a weird question. They could just
Hmm.
say, "What do you think you value in RPGs that others might not?"
Are you different? In other words, do you value things differently than other people? Do you think?
I don't think so. I don't think I'm much different from anybody else. I think we're all very similar in some ways. I mean, I guess I value the friendships first and the people first, but I don't think
Hmm.
that's not rare. Uh,
Yeah,
because without that, everything else doesn't matter to me. I
I
mean,
think
I
we're
like
talking about
playing with people.
RPGs.
What's that?
In terms, he said RPGs. Like, what
Hmm.
do you value in RPGs? Does that mean the game, or does that mean gaming in general? Any
Yeah, it's a
particular
weird
game?
question.
It is. It's open ended. You know.
Yeah, yeah, and it's fine. It's open ended, but yeah, I mean, I guess the way I interpret it is, I guess I value the. Okay, I'm just going to start. Just pick a lane, and I'm just going to say, just about the games themselves. I prefer what I value in games is the ease of play, being able
Hmm.
to have a skeletal structure, and being able to add my little doodads onto it and it not
Hmm.
wreck the game. Like sometimes, I mean,
Okay.
they always talked about 5E's modularity,
Yeah.
and I never saw that. I
No.
didn't see, because if you tried to add stuff, you start wrecking other shit that exists. That might
Hmm.
just be my limitations, but even because I was in like three, for someone who never GM'd it or anything, I was in 3 year long plus 5E games, so I have a lot of experience with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I was in one of them
but
with you. Rob was running it, right?
yep,
Yeah.
exactly. That
Yeah.
was the last one I was in.
Yeah.
But anyways, I value that module, the ability to add stuff without wrecking. That's why I like like OSE, Shadow Dark, because they're very easy to add things
Hmm.
onto, kind of switch around, change without wrecking the game. Sometimes it's going to be like overpowered for this or underpowered for that, but if you don't give too much shits about the game balance, it's okay. It'll work out in the end,
Hmm.
because like I tell Joe, for yeah, you can have it. You can you can I forgot the term I was using. You can have your, when you would always say rod of lordly might or whatever, you'd always ask
Yeah.
for it
Yeah.
after everything. I'd say, yeah, you can have it, but I've got more monsters than you do magic items.
Yeah, basically.
You know, but
That
yeah,
was a poor
I
urchin.
think, yeah, I just think the ability to have that flexibility with the system to allow me to bend it to my personal game and needs at the time is the most
Okay.
important thing I value. What
I
about you,
I
Joseph?
I value house rulings. I like house rules. I like the
Right.
ability to fuck with a system. I mean, it's like the
Yep.
derivation of this whole thing. You know what
Yep.
I mean? It was just started in our 2E game, and I house ruled the crap out of it, and people busted my balls. And why don't you write your own
Oh,
game? Like, motherfucker, I will. So there we go. You
Blood
know?
Island.
So it
Right.
came
Yeah.
about. Yeah, Greg busted
Yeah.
my chops all the time, you know. And so I was like, God damn it, I will. And so I'm doing it.
Absolutely.
So, and by the way, guys, I mentioned this in the Monday, I think today's video. I mentioned, I think for the first time that I finally figured out what the hell I'm going to do with my Patreon and my Substack. A Substack is going to be essays, all right? Because I do a lot of writing before the videos to try to clear my thoughts. I figure I could post whatever I write as an essay or stuff from my DM guide in Substack, and you get some thoughts because I miss blogging. As I realized as I was writing this stuff, wow, I miss blogging. Who knew, right? So
Right.
that's why I use it as a blog, and the Patreon, you could join for free or for $5 or more bucks, and you get the development of this. If you're interested in this game, because a lot of people have been asking recently, hey, where do I get the chance to look at your game? Well, it's written, the PHB is written, the Monster Manual is in progress, and the player and the DM guys about 1/3 in. So if you want to see the progress, check out the Patreon. You could comment on it and see little snippets that I share with you. So that's my little push for Substack and Patreon. Links are below there too. And Tim's Patreon links will be below as well, both in my video and his. You could join that. All right. All right. I've pimped us sufficiently, I think.
Yeah, you've been pimping
All right.
away.
All right. I'm pimping away
Need a
here, man.
shower now.
Yeah. Are you more? Here's the number 5. Yeah.
5,
Fifth
I think.
question.
Yeah.
Are you more interested in growth, in expression, or in achievement through your character? Like all these are through your character. So growth through your character, expression through your
So I'm back to
character, or
playing
achievement.
again here. So
Yeah, yeah, but
I
these are
think
questions
expression.
that you would ask as a GM. You would
Expression.
ask these questions.
Yeah, I think because I really like getting into my character, and when I roll up a character, I play them as is, as Joe knows.
Mhm.
If I roll 4 3s and 2 6s, I'm going to play him. I might play him like a slug, but I'll play him until he dies or whatever, and I'll have fun with him. I'll try to figure out an angle for him and see. He might not be a hero, but maybe he'll somehow find a place in this community and be
Mhm.
worth something, or maybe he'll have his one moment of glory saving like a town from maybe a few goblins, and to him that's his Tiamat.
Okay.
you
All
know
right. See,
so
for me, it's exactly opposite. I want
yeah,
achievement. God damn it! I want
uh,
my first level guy. I'm dreaming of the day that he's going to be 30th level and run the world.
right.
That is every single character I play. I'm always thinking, how am I going to get him now?
What about
The god.
Snickle though? Because you don't seem like you're playing him like that.
No, because the game won't let me. The evil GM keeps throwing things in my way that won't let me get there. So no, this is a grim dark setting where you might die in the way to the outhouse. All right, so and it's an outhouse mimic, and he'll snatch your nuts off.
But
So
the
yeah,
thing is like you say you value the achievement most, but you say your favorite character is Snickle, and Snickle's
yeah.
not. That's not his goal is not achievement.
His goal is to survive, and so far I've lived. All right, so that is a massive achievement. All
Well,
right, in your
that's your
horrid
Tiamat
setting.
just living, huh?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
you are the Tiamat. You, the DM, are the Tiamat. So yeah, this horrid,
Tiamat.
horrid setting that you have me trying to get through, where I just walking down the street to get a dozen eggs from the store. I get like mind raped and lost memories and levels, and it's like Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, so that is the achievement, is living. The fact that you said that this is the only character you've ever had in 4 separate campaigns, that's the achievement. He's lived, because most of them
Right.
fucking died probably, right? So yeah, yeah. So
You know.
you know, so all right. If you had to choose, would you prioritize freedom, challenge, or narrative coherence, as in an A+ story? again from the player's perspective. And we're going to get into this is the players. These are all player questions, guys, that a DM would ask. And then we're going to talk in a minute about now how, as a DM, would you handle the answers? So that's the
Right.
DM's perspective.
So as a player, gosh, free because I mean I do like freedom and my choices and stuff like that. I want the challenges and the narrative coherence. Um, so I have to prioritize those. So I'm just going to use it as, not going to think about it too much. Just use what they have here. I would say a narrative coherence, because without that, it doesn't matter what I pick, because then nothing will. If I go over here and it doesn't make sense, then it doesn't sort of make the choice. And if it's not challenging, I don't care if I have freedom because it's not challenging.
Yeah.
And then I would probably pick freedom last, just because without the other two, freedom doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. It does. Yeah. I would go with narrative coherence, but closely followed on the heels of that, almost attached to it is freedom. Because if there's narrative coherence and you have freedom, you don't have a railroad, right?
Right.
If narrative coherence and no freedom, that's a railroad. And narrative coherence and challenge, it's just a hard railroad. It's just relatively, that's all it is. And so I would go narrative coherence definitely, because that's what I try to do as a DM, give you narrative coherence, because I'm always thinking of the web of power and structures and
right.
who's who and all this kind of shit, right? And then the freedom to jump from one strand of the web to the other, that's what I would want. So that's what I want to give. So yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Yep. All right. Now, lastly, the man who rolls ones for everything. Is failure an important part of fun or something to minimize?
Absolutely. Failure is the heart of having fun. Speaking of someone who's rolled 8 ones in a row one night during thing.
Yep.
When they came up with when they had the disadvantage rolls, and then they had double disadvantage rolls, and then they had triple disadvantage rolls, and then they had Tim's disadvantage rolls. So that's where you would roll 4 dice or something like that, and you took the lowest out of 4 dice.
Yeah.
And so no, if failure's not an option, you're not playing a game.
Exactly. I like, you gotta have that. You gotta have it. Just tonight I failed, right? And a simple little thing. Ken was levitating to the ceiling, tied a rope to me because I couldn't levitate. We're walking through this fast moving stream in a sewer, and I figured this is the fail safe. I'm good to go. Tim says, "Don't roll a 1." Fucking rolls a 1. Me. All right. So there we go. Now I'm like drowning underwater, I'm failing a constitution check. I'm taking damage. I'm being buffeted against the walls. I'm choking up. I thought I was going to pull a Rob death here and drown. And so, and again, I lost my fucking dagger, and I finally got out of it.
You forgot you rolled another one right after that too.
Yeah.
So you rolled 2 ones. You're lucky you're alive. You should have killed you.
I know. Then I get out of the goddamn sewer, and I roll, drink 2 Hugos. One of them fails because he knew heinous rules, and then the other one gave me 1 hit point of fucking healing back. So I'm like, God damn it!
Right.
2 shot wasted for 1 hit point of healing. So yeah, failure, but it was fun. We laughed. We had a good time. Right. I didn't die.
Yes.
And there's an achievement.
No.
Boom.
There's the achievement. Boom. Yeah. Yep.
I didn't die.
Still breathing. So yeah.
All right. So these were all player questions that a GM would ask.
This is interesting as a whole, because I think I told Joe it's like the MMPA. It's like the Minnesota multiphasic assessment, I think is what it's called and everything. So it's like a personality test almost.
Exactly.
So you kind of do an evaluation on someone. It's like I'm not saying it's the whole thing because that thing takes a long time to take, but you take these questions to kind of figure out the personality of the player you have. And I think that these are decent questions. One of the things you'd have to before you would, I think, implement this is you probably, I think I'd want to maybe rephrase them or simplify them, because I think you'd need a pretty advanced or somewhat competent, coherent sort of player to answer those. Because if you had new players or something like this,
new players
wouldn't have any context to really to answer them.
What would you have, like, if you had to have 3 new player questions or a couple? What comes to mind? Like, what would you ask new players? brand new table, never played D&D, or maybe just fucked around a little bit. They don't have the experience to know what the hell you're talking about here. You know,
Well,
what
that
would you
one
throw?
question, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The fifth one, I think, is a very good
Yep.
one. So, are you interested
Yeah.
in growth, expression, achievement through your character? Right
Mhm.
there, you can, because I mean, right there is going to tell you what kind of gaming personality. If they're a power
Yep.
gamer, a role player, I can't remember how many. There's like 7 different types of players. I
Mhm.
forgot what all of them are called now.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think that's a good way to lean get a good overview, big picture of what
Yes.
the player is going to be. What about you?
Yep. I would ask why they want to play D&D. I'm assuming they either have never played or maybe played a couple games with friends or something, but they're looking for a real game now. They're looking for a DM for a
Right.
campaign. I would throw out the why. What brought you to D&D? What are you interested in? Why is this something that you want to, try out or get into a long campaign? Because one of my other early questions will be, are you ready to sign up for 2 years at least?
I
Because
know
that's what I'm getting.
you want them to sign in blood for their
Yeah.
campaigns.
Because,
Yeah.
at least try it. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going off to
But
college
say it's a
in the
new player
fall.
though, Joe. New
Yeah.
like say we're talking about new players. So would you expect a new
Yeah.
player to sign up for 2 years with you?
No, 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 no. I would
Okay.
let them know that I plan on running this campaign for a few years, and you're welcome to stay as long as you
Gotcha.
like it, as long as you like me as a DM. And you're welcome to keep playing as long as as long as we get along, as long as it goes well. Which is
Right.
why I'm trying to ask these questions of you. What do you like? What are you into? What brought you to D&D or whatever RPG? Because again, this is
Right.
generic. These apply to every RPG that you could DM or GM,
Right.
right? I keep saying DM, but we're talking GMing here,
Right.
game mastering, right? And we're talking not just D&D. This could apply to GURPS. This could apply to MERPs. This is everything.
Right.
Um, so yeah, for brand new players, these questions wouldn't be good. These are good for this is a group he's been playing with for a long time. So, and the other guy knew some of the people in his group. So the other guy had the game of guessing which person in the
Oh,
group
really?
answered these
Guessing the answer.
questions. And because
That's funny.
the GM actually answered the questions too. The GM read, all right, here's my 5 answers. Guess which was me and guess which was Ethan or whoever the hell. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Stuff like that.
that's fun.
So
Yeah.
it was fun for him too. So it was an interesting discussion there. But I think that you're right. These are definitely for advanced questions for advanced players that you may or may not be used to, but you want to get more in
Right.
depth of what you're looking for because these questions, these answers, I think can change based on the PC you're playing, right?
Oh, well, yeah, absolutely. Because I was going to say, kind of depends on what of course, the game master who's playing. Because I try to, I use Bruce Lee,
Mhm.
thing, be like water. So you kind
Yeah.
of mold to like, or try to form to what the GM wants, maybe, and then
Mhm.
also form to like the character that I just rolled up. And even to what system I'm playing too, because some systems have an allowance. Because you run, um, for example, like in your games, Joe, you're generous to your players, but you have your rules and you don't move outside your
Yeah.
rules that much. But you're generous to your rules are generous to the players. I think you because I mean your rules are set up to try to help the to achieve what you want that epic game level.
Yeah.
Because when I see your rules, I see it favoring the players to achieve those ends and everything
Big
like that.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I write a game I would like to be a player in. And as a player,
Hmm.
like I said, at first level, I'm already thinking, how do I get to 30th and run the world? Right. So
Right.
I
Right.
create a game system that's going to let you get there. Like I remember asking James Raji this one time, something about a high level spells or whatever. And there was a contradiction in his game. I said, well, James, how the fuck are you ever going to use this scroll or a spell? And he's like, I never considered that people ever are going to get beyond like level 5 or 6. So it didn't matter. He
Right.
never thought about it. And me, that's inconceivable. Like I ran his
Right.
Lamentations game for a couple of years in a campaign with a bunch of people. And that's why it came up because there was a couple higher level questions that I forget them now. It was like over 10 years ago, but I was like, James,
Sure.
whatever. What's going on? And he's like, yeah, I never thought about it because I don't think everybody's gonna ever get there. I'm like, Christ, that's not the game for me then. You know?
Right. Right. Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah. And we all have our only because you have a thing about travel spells. You do not like travel spells.
Can't stand them.
You don't like
Yeah.
travel spells or like movement spells.
Yes. Yeah.
Like flying and different things.
Yep.
And the
Only.
interesting thing is I've heard and just recently other people say the same thing. Other GMs, nobody I know, but just like on I think YouTube channels I must have been watching,
Why?
say the
I
same
am a
thing.
social media influencer, Tim, and they are listening. This is why. They are listening and they are
Oh,
taking the
gotcha.
words of wisdom of travel. Fast travel sucks. It breaks everything that's cool about it. You know, I don't want to be like, okay, I'll just teleport over there. And you
Right.
just crossed 3,000 miles of awesome travel where you could have had awesome immersion, every town, village, and city all along the way with a lot of
Right.
XP opportunities. But instead, it's like you're treating it like a video game. Don't get me wrong. At higher levels, a 17 level wizard or druid or cleric, they have
Right.
ways to get around, right? But most of them are permanent portals or things like that, right? Or ninth levels teleport rather than fifth level, right? So there are ways, but yeah, I was like the Gandalf thing where Gandalf's riding Shadowfax around and he's like a goddamn demigod virtually, right? In
Right.
disguise, but he's riding Shadowfax. I like that part of it. I do like that part. I think you miss a lot when you don't have that. And so then the game system supports the kind of style I want to play.
Yep.
So yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what else about these? Would you change anything else? Like for you talk about the new player approach. What would you do for any other questions to get to know people? Do you think?
Yeah, I kind of would, and I almost would probably, I would probably do this through play in some ways. I want to see how much this is just a new player kind of thing, how much they're willing to get immersed into what they're doing. And one of the ways you can tell, and this is a shitty way to do it, but it really puts them to the test right away, is something that everybody hates. When you start a session without your gear and you're tied up in a jail cell.
Oh, I hate that. That's like the slaver adventure where you start to,
Exactly.
I hated
But
that
I'll tell
shit.
you what, Joe, I years ago, I did that to a bunch of players. I mean, organically it came about. It wasn't something I just like forced or anything like that. And it's one of those sessions. Rob wasn't even in it. He didn't even do, because we were co-DMing at the time. He sat in there. It lasted 2 sessions long. He wasn't there when it first happened. He was there for the second part of it. And they still talk about those sessions today. The players,
Really?
they just
it worked.
Oh yeah, they got on this slave boat, and I had just the way I set up an entire like ecosystem on this slave boat, how the ranks worked, how it interacted, the NPCs, and it really helped that I had a really strong, vile little NPC that led everything. The way I thought of John Cleese being, the guy from Monty Python, being but only like 5 foot tall and being like nasty as hell and just completely a psychopath when it comes to the slaves. Like he would get bored sometimes and he would grab one of the random slaves that were in. So there was benches. The closer you were to the front, the longer you've been there, and the more favored you were. If you were in the back, you were shark bait. You could become shark bait, and that's what he would do when he's bored. He would fish for sharks. So he'd take a prisoner, wrap him up, throw him over, and then try to pull in some sharks and stuff like that. So you wanted to get out of those last 3 rows. So you did what you had to do, and then so there was a lot of interplay, a lot of intrigue, and how they got around stuff. So it was almost like a prison. A floating prison kind of thing. So it forced me as a GM to come up with this whole thing I never thought about before. I never, but it just kind of happened, and the players rode with it and had fun with it. And at the end, they were able to learn about it, use the system in their favor, and in the end of the day, they had some good rolls too. Accomplish.
Were they already playing? Were they already playing together, or they leveled up, or is this like session 1?
No. This was, like I said, it came about organically. It
Okay.
probably happened when they were, now this is GURPS. So I want to say we probably had been playing together for 3 to 4 months when this happened.
Okay.
So they ended up doing something stupid and getting captured by
Yeah.
somebody or whatever. Their miscalculations caused them their freedom, and then
Okay.
but yeah, they still. I mean, it's Rob still talks about it too, but it was probably one of my better sessions that I ever ran doing
Okay.
that.
All right.
So
That's
if
cool.
somebody, if I think if players can handle that type of like
Test.
test on their characters and their ability to
Yeah.
kind of just be mature enough to know that, well, if you do this, you can fix stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to have to
Yeah.
go through some shit, and you're going to have to figure it out. I'm not just going to give them to you back.
Hmm.
But if you're smart and you pay attention to stuff, you're really going to earn some cool credit here by being able to get off here and whatnot, and take down something pretty vile and everything like that.
And you might
So
get a ship if you play your cards right.
exactly,
You know?
exactly,
Yeah.
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 Or you could become his boss. Who knows?
Yeah.
That's the part of the freedom that I like to put in my games too. Just depends on what the
Okay.
angle the players wanted to do.
So here's a last question then, because I can't believe it's only because we always talk and we end up talking forever, right? It's almost
I know,
45 minutes in here.
I know. We
So
always do that.
but I think it's good. It's a good conversation because these questions to players that you would ask as a GM, it sparks
Well,
like
what
what we're
would you
talking
do in
about
that
now.
case, Joe, to test your players? What would be the other thing that you might do to find out something about your players? Doesn't
In
have
other
to be
words,
through play,
not asking questions. In other words, or
or maybe asking. Yeah, I just thought, like, for mine, that's a big tell for me.
I always would want to know the player, not the PC. I would like to go out and hang around with them for a while. Like that's why the next question I was going to ask you was, do you do this in a group or in person? All these
Well,
questions and
right.
start them riffing off of each other, or do you want to do one-on-ones and then maybe bring them all together? Right.
I'll probably
I
do them
think
one
it's
on
better
ones.
See, I go in person with a group because I
Yeah,
think hearing them interact with each other, right? Oh, I would never do that, or oh, I would love that. Yeah, that makes sense, or something like that, right? And then you get the group, you get a sense of how the group is going to start interacting with each other,
makes sense. Yeah,
right? So I'd want to see that. And I would like to do something like this at a neutral place. There's no dice, there's no tables. There's just
sure.
maybe me with notes, taking notes or something like that, right? And we're all just having a beer, right?
Right,
We're all, eating some, sharing food, having a drink, relaxed, not in a place you would never play D&D in. They go out to a local bar or a local restaurant,
right,
right? To get them sort of off their guard in a sense that the DM is not can't fuck me here. The GM this isn't his domain,
right,
right? And so then you get a couple in them, and usually people in vino veritae, right? In wine there is
right,
truth. And next thing you know, you're getting to know the person you're playing with. I think
right.
that's really important to me. That's the shit test, right? To see if they're a shithead. I
Right.
think,
Well, that's why
because
that's actually why I chose that other example, because that tells me how mature they are as a player to be able to handle like a worst case
a
scenario.
bad
Are they going to
scenario.
start
Yeah.
throwing a fit? Are they going to get
Yeah.
mad about it? Are they because if I've got players that if they lose their, because you know how my game runs. I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to lose stuff. You're going to get stuff. Sometimes you're going to
Hmm.
get what you want and go, oh shit, I don't really want this anymore,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
thing. But see how they handle those situations, but also at the same time make sure they trust me as a GM to know that I'm not doing it to dick you over. It's just
Yeah.
part of the
Yeah.
game. It's just part of
Yeah.
the setting. I'm not,
Yep.
my games runs on, if you're going to use a video game analogy, I would say mine runs on not the nightmare level, but the one right below it, like the
Yeah.
hard level, or,
Yeah. Yeah.
not the normal level, but the one above that,
The hurt me plenty
uh,
level. I think wasn't it the Doom level, the fourth level, hurt me plenty or something like that. And
Oh,
the
I
fifth
don't
one was
remember.
like,
Yeah, I
I
remember
forget
it
what
had a
the hell they
weird
were.
name, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah,
funny.
yeah, yeah. but I think it's interesting. We different approaches both have the same result though. You're shit testing in
Yeah.
game, I'm shit testing outside the game because I want to know them as a person.
Yep.
That to see if we're going to gel and also to see how they're going to interact with each other. Like I said, see who could be a problem, who, and then I'm starting to think, well, this one's going to play this kind of a class, and therefore, I'm just the wheels are spinning now, right?
Right.
These interpersonal dynamics. So I think that, yeah, but there's many ways to do this, and I think that
Yeah.
these are just 7 questions. Like I said, I think 6 out of 7 he asked AI for an ass ton, and he picked 6 best, and he also had one of his own he wanted to bring into it. But anybody could do this,
Gotcha.
either with AI,
Anybody.
if your
Yeah.
own experience, or just use something like this, and I think what we're saying here is you need different types of questions for beginner groups or experienced groups, right? But the question
Oh
is the
yeah. Yeah.
key.
I would say so because I think we automatically default to our group. When
Yeah,
you're thinking of stuff, we automatically
yeah,
default that our group in our situation where we don't think about, we tend to answer using that. But like, what if you gamed with kids? What if you gamed with
yeah.
uh, females? Because I mean, that's a rarity and everything like that. Any type of different mixture than your normal, maybe a
Hmm.
mixture of kids and adults. Where are
Hmm.
you playing? Because where you're playing could change stuff up too,
Yeah,
because you're
yeah,
gonna use different language if you're, maybe at your own house compared to maybe somebody else's house that has kids
yeah,
or
yeah.
over
Game
that.
stores. I got shushed at a game store a bunch of year pre-COVID game I was running at a game store because I kept dropping the f bombs too much. Like,
No,
there's kids
yeah,
here, and they're all playing Magic the Gathering or whatever the hell bullshit card game they're playing, and I'm dropping
right,
motherfucker. I'm just going off in my own being me, and I
right,
think
yeah,
I was pre-gamed all my games at the game store. I always have a couple
hmm,
nips in the car and a little bit of
right,
puff, and so I'm in a good mood, and then a couple of the players were puffing with me, so they were in a good mood, so we were just rolling, you know. So
yeah, yeah. What was the last
yeah,
question you had then, Joe?
that was it. That was the last one. We were
Oh, that was
45
it.
minutes
Okay,
in. Not bad for
45
our
is
first
good.
session here, since we sort of
No, not bad.
threw it together as an idea last week, and it all came together about 15 minutes before we started recording. So
Right. And
it's
Joe had this idea. Well, it's like, well, we keep it in 15 minutes. I said, you have 7 questions and you want to
no,
keep it to 15 minutes? Just
yeah,
kind
no,
of
that
gave him
ain't
like,
gonna work.
okay, sure.
It's not that kind of. Plus, I
Yeah.
keep forgetting how much we just talk, you know.
Yeah. And
So
just kind of
yeah.
talk about different things. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
So,
we're gonna have a live stream sooner or later, guys. It's just a matter of when both of our schedules free up. But in the meantime, every Thursday at 2:30, you're gonna see the RPG Gamemaster Academy videos. Same video on both Tim and I's channel, but
yep.
subscribe to both of our channels because we do other things besides these videos, right? So
Right.
if you like this, you like
And
the other things we do.
if you
All
guys
right?
do something beforehand, let us know. We'd love to hear it. I think maybe sometimes what we should kind of do too, Joe, and this is just,
Yeah.
I'm just putting this, is like if we get some interesting comments or stuff like that, we'll add them to our next show. Kind of read them
Yeah.
during our show,
Oh, that's a good
kind
idea.
of talk about it,
That's a
get
good
some
idea.
discussion going and everything
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Because I mean, Joe, anytime anybody who's seen us before, we love a lot of audience interaction,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
So I'm looking
trying
forward
to
to the
get.
live stream, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
we
that's
want you
cool.
to be a part of the show. So comment. We'll, probably add you to the next show, discuss your
Mhm.
stuff, and then, go on with their topics. And then you can always suggest topics or things that we do
Definitely
because,
suggest topics if there's something
yeah,
you guys
because,
want to hear about.
yeah,
Yeah.
because we're always, Joe is a little bit more organized with stuff than I am. I scatter a lot. I'll think about this, think about that. I mean,
Mm,
Joe does that too, but you're
yeah.
definitely better at keeping it. I wouldn't say focused, but being
No.
able to say this is a topic we're going to talk. Where I'll say okay, and then I'm bouncing around to
Yeah, I'm
10
big level.
different
I'm
things.
big level organized, and once I'm in the gritty of it, I'm not just
Right?
talking.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's
Yeah, yeah.
understandable.
All right, guys, this is cool. Click that subscribe button, and if
Yep.
you're
Subscribe.
subscribed to me, you can subscribe to Tim, and vice versa. Links to our channels
Appreciate
are in
that.
the down below. Fireball to Gazebo's videos down below. Links to my Patreon, my Substack, and Tim's
Yep.
Patreon are down below. All right,
Yep.
so click all that shit, subscribe, and like everything, and you'll get Tim's stuff in the mail for $5. You can't beat it. I have a whole
$5.
box of stuff over there. It's good shit. Good shit.
Yep.
All right. Thanks
All
very
right.
much, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks
See
for joining us.
next Thursday, 2:30. Bye-bye.
Next Thursday, 2:30. Yep.